Hello, welcome to RV Repairs with Ron. Today we're going to be talking about 7 ways. They can be found on most towables with brake assemblies. We're going to talk about the pin configuration, how to test them either on a PDI or making a repair, and everything you need to know about a trailer 7-way. Alright, let's talk about pin configuration. Now, when I look at my 7-way, I just want to kind of point out one thing right here real quick. I keep my extrusion down. The reason I keep my extrusion down in the way I teach is because most people can remember their left from their right when it comes to directional. So on the left-hand side of this, my left turn will be over here, my right turn will be over here. That makes it easier to remember. So we're going to start with the positive 12 volt. The positive 12 volt is going to be on the bottom right. All right. Now, as long as there is a battery installed on the front of the trailer or fifth wheel or any towable, there will be 12 volt coming from this. The only exclusion from that is some manufacturers currently, if it does have lithium batteries, they may not hook up what would be considered the charge line, which is this connection here. So you may have to use some sort of jumper to some sort of 12 volt source to be able to try these. Now, when it comes to being able to test these, you will need some tools. All right, I got a couple here. There are some other options other than this, but the first one, this is just going to be a little fuse holder. I have a 15 amp fuse in here. This works for any dual axle trailer because of 15 amps. It's around 12 amps when it pulls the brakes. We want to make sure we don't exceed that. But it's got two little spade connections on here. The other that I tend to use is just one without it. A little bit protection can make sure if there is any issues in the system, we don't cause any damage to the system, and it'll just blow the fuse. Now, there are some tools the manufacturers make to just kind of plug into the end of these. You hit a switch and it will allow you to test these, but this works perfectly fine, especially just coming into the industry. So we'll start with the pin configuration. Like I said, positive 12 volt, right turn on the right hand side, brakes on the upper right. This is important because this is how you'll do your spin test and ensuring you're pulling the correct amount of amperage when you are testing them. On the bottom left is going to be your clearance or running lights. Okay, that is going to be all your upper lights and then your corner markers and everything like that, and then obviously your tail lights in general. Your left turn signal right here, and then ground is directly across from your 12 volt positive. So you never want to jump from this pin to this pin. It will cause issues down the line. You could cause a fuse to pop or a breaker to pop or anything in that instance. You don't ever want to jump those two. But then if applicable, this center post here, that's going to be reverse lights. So not all trailers do carry that, but if it does have reverse lights, that's how you'll test them. So to test this, if I wanted to check all my lights, say during a PDI, I would take my tool here. Okay, and I wanted to always check my clearance first. What I would do is I would stick the little spade connection in the 12 volt positive and stick the other spade connection in the clearance light connection. I'll kind of drape it over the tongue jack or across the pin box if it's a fifth wheel. And then I go to the rear, check all my running lights, making sure everything is functioning properly, my corner markers, everything like that. And if anything's not working, we can write it up for warranty or get it repaired if it's customer pay. After I've checked the clearance lights and make sure they all work, I generally go to my left turn since I'm right there, and I just jump these, run to the back, check my left turn. All right, after I do that, I do my 12 volt to my right turn right there, check that. And then I jump across to my reverse if equipped. Okay. And then before I do the brakes, I'm generally going to go to the back, the rearmost tire on what would be the passenger side is most likely that is the last in the daisy chain. I'm going to lift that appropriately with a jack and do what's called a spin test. And I'm going to spin the wheel in the direction as if I was going forward or towing forward, and then I will jump from here to here. Okay, as long as that tire stops, that's a good indication that most of the brakes are working. To ensure the brakes are completely working, when you do jump this, you want to throw your AC/DC amp clamp on the wires to ensure you're pulling around 12 amps if it is a dual axle, 6 to 8 if it's a single axle, and then 14 to really 16 if it's a triple axle. Good indication though when you do jump this, and if you have a spark, that's a good indication that something is at least working. If you don't have any spark when you jump from here to here, and it's just a little spark, that will tell you that there's something not functioning properly, something's not connected, or you don't have power, something has went wrong in general. So always look for that little spark. All right, that's not an indication that the brakes are functioning. All right, but the little spark is an indication that at least something is happening. Current is running through to the brakes because it is a higher current, and you can visually see that. So that's a good place to start. Thank you for joining me on RV Repairs with Ron. I appreciate everybody. I hope you have a fantastic week, and be on the lookout for new upcoming videos and take a look at some of our older videos. Have a great day.